Have you ever noticed how the more you try to be a good employee, the less you feel like a free human being? You show up on time. You follow instructions. You don't question decisions. You smile even when something feels wrong. And everyone calls you professional. But somewhere deep inside, something feels traded. Your time is scheduled. Your opinions are filtered. Your ambitions are resized to fit a corporate ladder that was built long before you arrived. And the world praises you for adapting. So here's the uncomfortable question. When did obedience become a virtue and freedom become a risk? Today we are going to talk about something that almost nobody wants to admit out loud. Why being a good employee often contradicts being a free man. Not because work is evil, not because companies are monsters, but because the system rewards compliance and freedom requires resistance. As Jean-Jacques Rousseau once wrote, "Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains." Those chains today do not always look like iron. Sometimes they look like ID cards, monthly salaries, performance reviews, corporate values printed on a wall, and they are far more sophisticated. The hidden cost of being a good employee. The modern workplace doesn't ask you to be creative. It asks you to be consistent. It doesn't reward you for questioning the direction. It rewards you for executing it. From childhood, you are trained to become employable. Sit still. Raise your hand. Ask for permission. Meet deadlines. Memorize. Repeat. Comply. School conditions you for employment. Employment conditions you for obedience. And slowly, your sense of autonomy begins to shrink. A good employee does not disrupt. A good employee does not challenge authority publicly. A good employee does not place personal values above company policy. You are told this is maturity. But freedom is not built on constant approval. Freedom requires the ability to say no without fear of losing your survival. And that is where the contradiction begins. Your income depends on your submission to hierarchy. Your security depends on your predictability. Your growth depends on pleasing people who sit above you. So you learn to adjust your voice. You learn when to speak and when to stay silent. You learn that being right is less important than being liked by the right people. And the most dangerous shift happens quietly. You begin to internalize the company's goals as your own. You celebrate targets that do not belong to your soul. You sacrifice time with family for promotions that increase your title, but reduce your autonomy. You call it responsibility. But sometimes, it is simply fear wearing a suit. The fear of instability. The fear of irrelevance. The fear of stepping outside the system that feeds you. And here is the deeper layer most people never confront. A free man decides his direction. A good employee executes someone else's direction. Those two paths can align temporarily, but they are not the same. The corporate structure is designed for efficiency. Freedom is designed for self-determination. Efficiency values uniformity. Freedom values individuality. One wants you reliable. The other demands you sovereign. And sovereignty is inconvenient inside hierarchy. In the film Fight Club, Tyler Durden says, "You are not your job." It sounds dramatic, but look at how often people introduce themselves. What do you do? Not. Who are you? Not. What do you believe? Not. What do you value? What do you do? Your identity becomes attached to your function. Your worth becomes attached to your productivity. And slowly, your existence becomes transactional. The system does not need to imprison you physically. It only needs to make you dependent, because dependence is the softest form of control. When your mortgage, your lifestyle, your status, and your safety all depend on staying inside the lines, freedom becomes expensive. And good employees rarely take expensive risks, reclaiming inner freedom. While employed, this is not a call to quit your job tomorrow. This is not a romantic speech about running to the mountains. The solution is more subtle and more powerful. You must separate employment from identity. You can work for a company without becoming psychologically owned by it. The first step is awareness. Recognize that your job is a contract, not your purpose. You are selling time and skill. You are not selling your conscience. The second step is internal sovereignty. That means having opinions you do not broadcast for approval. It means thinking critically even when you comply externally. It means understanding the difference between cooperation and submission. A free man can cooperate, but he does not dissolve. The third step is building leverage, financial literacy, side skills, alternative income streams, networks outside your workplace. Freedom grows in proportion to options. The more replaceable your income source feels, the less replaceable your voice becomes. You cannot speak freely when survival is fragile. So you strengthen survival. And something shifts. When you know you could leave, you work differently. You negotiate differently. You carry yourself differently. Not with arrogance, but with quiet independence. How to stay free inside the system. Here's how this becomes real. First, audit your dependence. If your lifestyle requires constant obedience, reduce the cost of your life. Debt is invisible pressure. Luxury can be subtle captivity. The fewer chains you carry, the easier it is to stand upright. Second, build a skill that is portable. Something that is not tied to one employer, one location, one permission structure. When your competence is yours, your confidence changes. Third, practice small acts of controlled dissent. Ask questions respectfully. Express ideas thoughtfully. Do not attack, but do not automatically agree. Train your nervous system to handle mild disapproval, because freedom begins with tolerating discomfort. Fourth, cultivate an identity outside work. Read, create. Train your body. Build something that does not require corporate validation. When you have a life beyond your role loses psychological dominance. And finally, redefine success. Success is not only promotion, it is not only salary increments, it is the ability to look at your life and say, I chose this. Even if you stay employed for decades, the difference between captivity and freedom is internal. A captive employee works from fear of loss. A free man who happens to be employed works from choice. That subtle distinction changes everything, because the ultimate contradiction is not between employment and freedom. It is between unconscious obedience and conscious participation. One shrinks you, the other strengthens you. You can be skilled, you can be disciplined, you can even be loyal, but never surrender the part of you that questions. Never trade your voice for comfort permanently, because the world does not need more perfect employees. It needs more self-aware individuals who understand the game, but are not owned by it. So the next time someone praises you for being a good employee, ask yourself quietly, am I still a free man?